Welcome. I'm Marcy Wright. Welcome to Certify Your Small Business. Marcy Wright with Wright Transitions LLC. I'm so happy you could join us for this workshop. We want to make it as interactive as possible, even though we're separated by space and by geography. Certainly, we encourage you to ask questions as we go along. We'll answer them as best we can. And we're going to go over a whole series of information on certification, why it's advantageous, who's involved in certification, and why it might fit your business future. Certifications are almost like an alphabet soup. MBE, FBE, that stands for Minority Business Enterprise, Female Business Enterprise. The PEP program, Procurement Enhancement Program, those are local certifications. One is with the City of Springfield and one is with the City of Dayton. We also have state certifications, the MBE program and the EDGE program. And then on the federal level, we have the DBE program, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, and the SBA, Small Business Administration 8A certification. So you can see there's quite a bit to go through, and I hope you'll get something from this. Certifications are a key that opens a door to business contracts and public contracts for your small business. We want to go over today a couple of items: why get certified, who does it, where you can go to get certification, and how exactly it takes place. We'll talk about eligibility in each of the programs, the requirements, and how to reach the buyers and purchasers at these entities. So we'll begin with the why question. Why would you certify your small business? Now, let me just tell you ahead of time, certification is a process. It's not something that happens overnight. If you see an opportunity for a public contract and you say, oh, I want to get in on that, but it requires that you are certified, let's kick in with a little bit of patience because it is a process. Some of the applications are multiple pages and they ask you a lot of questions. The good news is they're never going to ask you something that you don't know because the questions are about your business. Certification is really a process of figuring out, are you who you say you are, and do you do what you say you do? We want to look at certification so that you can get access to those contracts. You can use it as a marketing tool for your business. And some of the programs have set-asides. Some programs set aside 5% for small business or 5% for the minority business organizations. And then some of the other programs set goals, either a set goal for a particular project or opportunity, or they will set an aspirational goal, something they hope to reach. And so we'll explore those whys and why you might want to get certified for your small business. Who does certifications? We have a number of outlets that do certifications. The City of Springfield certifies for the MBE and FBE, that's the Minority Business Enterprise and the Female Business Enterprise. That means they have a desire to do business with companies that are owned by minorities and companies that are owned by females. And so they set up a certification program so they could make sure and verify that those companies are legitimate. We also have the City of Dayton, very well-known program with their MBE, WBE, SBE, and DBE. They're almost like a one-stop shop for certification. The Minority Business Enterprise program that they have, the Women Business Enterprise, the Small Business Enterprise, and the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. The City of Dayton is actually a certifying agent for the federal DBE program. And we'll go into that in a little more detail a little later in the presentation. The state of Ohio has two certifications that it does through the Department of Administrative Services, the MBE and the EDGE program. And those are mostly concerned with construction, but it also has other contracts, purchases, and the bidding opportunities that they have at the state level. And then finally, we'll talk about the DBE program with the Department of Transportation, a great opportunity for our construction and engineering firms and other soft skills firms that can participate in federal contracts in the highway system. There is a cross-certification program. I talked earlier about the City of Dayton has a one-stop shop approach. Well, there's cross-certification available through the state of Ohio. You can cross-certify with other entities into the state's MBE program. That way you don't have to go here, there, and everywhere trying to get your certifications. If you have been certified already with the City of Columbus in their MBE program, and they've verified you, then you can have cross-certification with the state's MBE program. The same thing is true with the City of Dayton. If you've been certified with the City of Dayton Procurement Enhancement Program, especially for their MBE certification, you can be automatically certified with the state of Ohio. You just fill out the paperwork and you don't have to go through the entire certification process again. The City of Springfield with their MBE and FBE program, that's a cross-certification for the state as well. And then finally, the Ohio Minority Supplier Development Council. All of the entities I've talked about so far are public entities. The Minority Supplier Diversity Council is a private organization that has a membership, and you can obtain certification through them as a minority company, and the state will accept that for their state MBE program and for their opportunities. We have a question?
Yeah, so are cross certifications for other cities as well? So can you become certified with other cities when you're certified with the City of Springfield?
We don't see cross certifications in that way. It can simplify your process, but the only cross certifications that are recorded on the websites are to be able to go from the city to the state level. They will accept the fact that that city has done their due diligence and looked at your company and verified your status and eligibility. We don't see city to city, but it can simplify the process because what you've already done, once you've been certified by one city, for instance, the City of Springfield or the City of Columbus, you have already put together all of your documentation, all of the supporting documents that go with your application. And it's much simpler then to go to the next location and fill out their application, but all of your supporting documents, which take quite a bit of time sometimes to pull together, can be added to that application, and it goes much faster for you. All right, so where to get certified? The City of Springfield, and we can click on that link, City of Dayton, State of Ohio, Ohio Department of Transportation, and the Ohio Minority Supplier Diversity Council. Let's see if we can click on the City of Springfield and bring that up. This takes us to their certification process. This is the Minority Business Certification. This one, I want you to recognize, you actually will go through the process, you'll print out the application, you'll fill it in, and then you'll scan it and mail it to the address that's provided. And you can see the form must be returned to the City of Springfield. Cheryl Dover, who I met many years ago when I first started with certifications, and she does a great job there of getting you certified ready to do business with the City of Springfield. I want you to take just a really quick look at the application. Again, these are questions you already know the answer to. They're about your business, what type of organization you have. Is it a sole proprietorship? Is it a partnership? Is it an LLC? And then it talks about who is involved in the ownership of the business. And so as you go through this process, you'll see that each of the questions is a verification process of your eligibility for that program. Let's go back to our presentation. I want you to look at the City of Dayton because theirs is an online application. This really helps immensely. Instead of printing it out and then scanning it to send it back and doing it by mail, they actually take you through the online presentation. You check off, fill in, it's an online fillable form, very convenient, and they take you through that entire process. And this is what's interesting. On this application, it actually tells you everything that you're going to need to provide. There's your checklist of documents. 3 recent contracts. Now, what does that tell us about this particular application? It tells us automatically that you need to already be established. So I'm going to just give you a little bit of advice. This particular certification is not for a startup that hasn't done any business yet, or if you're in the pre-venture stage. This is not the right application for you. So you'll want to stick with one of the other certifications. But this one has, look at the other things that are on the list. They want to know about your banking. They ask for your birth certificate. They ask for proof of the capital that was invested in the business. They want to know, do you really own this business? And so they're verifying you personally and your vested interest in the business. I know that some of the questions can seem onerous, but I'm going to tell you this. I know it's hard to believe, but there has been fraud in the programs, where people will have a person on the front end of the company who looks like a minority, and then they'll have someone in the background that has the actual financial control of the business that is not a minority. And that's not going to work. That's why so much verification is necessary. Yes?
We have a question from Christy.
Okay.
She's asking, she's a certified business, WBE and SBE owner for the city of Dayton. Does she need to fill out the app to get certified with the city of Springfield as well? And if you could repeat that question.
The question is, does the small business that is certified with the city of Dayton need to get fill out the application and get certified with the city of Springfield? I'm going to say that you should call first. Cheryl Dover is great with that. But I would also say that, as I said earlier, when you have filled out all of the information for your City of Dayton application, you can ask the question of Cheryl Dover at City of Springfield, do you accept cross-certification? Remember I said, we know that going to the state level, it does accept the cross-certification. But we want to make sure, before we go through the trouble of filling out an application, that if they accept cross-certification, then they may allow you to just present your credentials and just register as a vendor. And I'll say this about the City of Springfield. You want to register as a vendor, whether you choose to get certified as a women-owned business or a female-owned business, as it is in their case, or a small business. You want to fill out their vendor registration because they're never, ever going to notify you of any bid opportunities if you're not registered as a vendor with the City of Springfield. And that form is on the same website with the City of Springfield. So I would say ask the question if you're not sure whether they do cross-certification or whether they will accept the certification from another place. I will say that for the City of Dayton, there are many entities that look at that list. The PEP list is a public list. It has the companies by name, by their category of business, by their location. And entities like universities and community colleges look at that list. Hospitals look at that list to find those companies that are already certified. So Christy, I'll tell you, you've done a great thing by automatically getting certified with the City of Dayton. I want to mention one other thing with regard to the underlying fact of all of these businesses, that they are small businesses. I met some years ago a husband and wife who had started a business. And they had chosen to make it a female-owned business and make the woman the 51% owner. Well, as I was doing their certification and asking those questions about the capital that was invested in the business, what we found is that it was a 50-50 proposition, that they really had both contributed. They had come from their savings account and made their investment in the business. And it was really, when you looked at the source of that capital, both of them had equally put into the business. And so what turned out to be a small business enterprise gave them a tremendous advantage by being certified as a small business. They were able to enter into contracts for public entities like the City of Dayton, like the City of Springfield, because they were a small business. And so that's the beginning of all of these certifications. And there are definite size requirements. When we talk about eligibility, size requirements like if you're a construction company, your annual revenues are averaged over 3 years. If you're a service organization, there are limits on that. And so each organization that does certification has a series of commodity codes or NAICS codes that determine what is your business size. If you want to look a little bit more about business size, you can just type that into the search box for the Small Business Administration, and an entire list of classifications will come up, and you can take a look and see where you fit in with regard to your annual revenues. For the state of Ohio, just take a quick look at their online process. They actually have you go through the Ohio Business Gateway. Now, if you are a registered business in the state of Ohio, you already have an Ohio Business Gateway account. And so logging into that and then going through to the Minority Business Enterprise application and the EDGE application will get you an opportunity to apply for those certifications. And again, if you've already been certified with one of the cross-certification entities, then you can just submit that information with your application for MBE or EDGE status. All right. Now, the Ohio Department of Transportation, they have a uniform certification application. How is that important? The beautiful thing about that program, it's a federal program. And so for the Department of Transportation, that includes Department of Aviation, it includes transit organizations, bus and trolley systems, it includes Amtrak, it includes contracts for rail, for all of those federal transportation organizations. And so whether you're looking at the local bus system like COTA in Columbus or RTA in Dayton, those are federal dollars. And when they have contracts, if you're certified as a DBE or a disadvantaged business enterprise, then you can have access to those contracts and those opportunities. The disadvantaged business enterprise program, a disadvantaged business is defined as automatically, if you're a woman-owned business and you're small, you would be eligible for applying for that program. And for the minority-owned businesses, certain minorities are recognized as disadvantaged. Not all minorities, and that's written into the federal code, and it's very easy to figure out whether you fit into one of those categories. There are also extenuating circumstances. Not disadvantaged, but disabled business owners can also at times be eligible for that program. So it's a unified program because it goes across all the transportation organizations, wherever they might be. So airports, transit systems, rail, all of those fit into the DBE program. And then finally, the Ohio Minority Supplier Diversity Council. As I said, this is a private organization that has a membership, and you can create your account. You register first, and then they send you a user registration link, and you can register yourself as a user and then apply for MBE certification with the Ohio Minority Supplier Development Council. All right. Yes.
Question? What kind of businesses should apply for certification? So like if you're a hairdresser, does it make sense to apply for certification? Really
good question. What I like to do is begin with, yes, what is it that you do? And then also look at those entities like the City of Springfield. The beautiful thing about public contracting is they have to publish their bid opportunities. And so you can go to their bid opportunity page and see what are they buying, what are they currently buying. City of Dayton the same way, Wittenberg University the same way. What are they putting out as invitations for bid? And find out, are they buying what you're selling? Remember we said that you can actually use your certification as a marketing tool, but asking that question, do they buy hairdresser services? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. It's something that you need to find out. For instance, we found that for the restaurant business, you would not think that an entity like the City of Dayton would have any purchasing of a restaurant. But when they hold events, there are times when, yes, they will put out an invitation for bid for an event, either for a meeting place or for a series of meals, and they'll put out a bid for that. And they want to be fair in it, so that's why they publish it ahead of time. They set a deadline, and those companies that are certified in their program are eligible to bid on that opportunity. But yes, the category of your business, there are two places to look for your codes. One is the NIGP codes, and we'll go over that a little bit later, and the other is the NAICS codes. And those list all the things that public purchasers are purchasing. All right. All right, how do you certify your business? You begin by reviewing the eligibility and check the requirements. You saw just on that list of how many documents are needed, and you know, if you don't have a copy of your birth certificate, then you're going to need one. And so you want to go to the issuing agency for that, whatever health department it is, and get a certified copy of your birth certificate. Why do they require that? Again, they want to verify your identity, and most of these programs require that you are a U.S. citizen. And so the birth certificate is one way to verify that. So you gather your documents. Now, in some cases, the application, I know the DBE application is 26 pages. I know that's a lot. I know that's very intimidating. But I suggest two things. I suggest a physical 3-ring binder, and as you gather your documents, whether you use sheet protectors or punch holes in them, it doesn't matter, but put them all in a tabbed binder so that you're organized, and you can check off, physically check off, I've got this and I've got that. I've got each one of the documents that are necessary to support my application. And then I also suggest that you use a virtual binder, a folder on your computer, where you keep all of the copies of all those scanned documents, especially the ones that require a signature or notarization. I know that there's a statement in the DBE application where you state, I am a part of a disadvantaged group, and they want you to have that statement and that signature notarized as part of your application. And so having a physical binder that has all of your documents, and a virtual binder where you can easily, I don't know if you've ever applied for anything, but perhaps you have, and they say, well, we don't have a copy of your articles of incorporation. Well, you know you submitted it, okay, but they want you to submit it again. And so if you have your binder, whether it's virtual or physical, you'll be able to submit any document that they've somehow missed and make sure that you're on target. We also want to encourage you, in the case of City of Springfield, you're going to submit your application by mail. In the other cases that we talked about with the state and with the other organizations, you're going to submit it electronically. But there are always those items that you need to perhaps supply after they've started their review of your company. And then you prepare for a site visit in some cases. A site visit is, again, a verification that you are who you say you are and you do what you say you do. I'll never forget the small business I went to see. Again, it was a husband and wife, and they had wanted to certify as a woman-owned business. And when I entered the business, I met with the wife in a conference room. And we talked, and I got to know the company. And then when she gave me the tour of her facility, her husband was in a palatial office with wood trim and really looking very much like the decision maker in the business. And as I asked more questions, who signs the checks? I immediately began to see that the checks were signed by the husband, again, as if he was making all the decisions. Let's pause for a moment. We're good? Okay, all right. And so preparing for that site visit, again, what we ultimately decided was they had a great small business with an equal partnership where they both made contributions to the operations and to the financials. And that was the outcome of that certification visit. But that site visit, you need to be prepared. They're going to look for things like, do you have your own signage? Are you co-located with another business? I can remember a business where the large tool supply company, this other partner had a small design company. And it was an office in a corner way in the back, and it had no separate signage. And so was that really a separate company? And then we found out that there was a lot of cross supplies. The doors that the designer used really came from the tool and hardware company that were with the larger company. And they shared staff. And so that's the kind of thing that a certifying agent that comes to your location for a site visit is looking for. Again, just verifying that it's real and it's true, all the things that you said about your company and your application. And then you await notification. Now, I did some calls before I did this seminar. I called several certifying organizations and said, what's the timing like? From the time you get a completed application until you do the site visit and ultimately get certified. And this is where your patience comes in. Depending on the number of applications that organization is processing, it can be 60 to 90 days before you actually achieve your certification. So keep that in mind, especially as you're looking at opportunities. And I do encourage you to explore what the buyers are buying, what the purchasers are looking for before you even begin this process. And I'll put in a note for our Springfield SBDC. If you're already working with a business coach, you can ask your business coach to take you through looking for those opportunities on those sites. You certainly can ask for me, Marcy Wright, but looking to see what is the possibility for your business is just as important as going through the process of getting certified. So let's look a little closer at the city of Springfield and what the process is like. So first, you're going to go to the site. You're going to download the application form, fill it in completely. Don't leave any blanks. Don't give them a reason to say, oh, well, we didn't get an answer to this or an answer to that. Get the affidavit notarized. And you probably already know a notary if you've been in business any length of time, and certainly you can get a notarization at your local bank. Scan and copy the application. Scan all of your supporting documents and make sure you have copies of them. Do not submit your original documents, all right? And then keep your copy in a physical binder and a virtual binder, as we said before, and then submit the application by mail. If you have questions before you submit it, again, Cheryl Dover is a great resource for that. For the city of Dayton, again, we have an online certification application, and it lists all of the supporting documents that you need to have with you. There are two other forms that absolutely must accompany the certification application. The first one is the online vendor registration. You must be a registered vendor with the city of Dayton, or nothing is going to go forward for you. And all registered vendors have to have an affirmative action plan. It's a form that states that you hire fairly. And so you fill that out online as well. And that all goes in with your certification application. You'll have an opportunity to upload your documents. So you'll have the scanned versions of your documents. And then you'll submit your application and the forms and your documents online. And then you prepare for the site visit. The Ohio Department of Transportation Unified Certification Program, you see that we have all these acronyms, DOT and UCP and DBE, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program. For that certification program, you download the application and the personal net worth statement. So that program has a couple of eligibility requirements I want you to be aware of. Your annual revenues cannot exceed well, it really depends on your business. Let's say it's a construction company. What's considered a small construction company, I know you're going to find this hard to believe, is not to exceed annual revenues averaged over 3 years of $33.5 million. And the other requirement is for the DBE program, this is for all companies, for all owners, the owner's personal net worth cannot exceed $1.32 million. And I just have a feeling that a lot of you can fit into that program. At least that's been my experience. And so they look at that very closely to make sure that you are a small business or that you're a disadvantaged business. You'll download the NAICS, and I'll be honest with you, I don't remember what NAICS stands for. It's a series of codes that describe what kind of business you're in. They're 5-digit codes. And so it describes a business, and then you decide, oh yes, that describes my business, and so that's the code for me, whether it's 91288 or any one of those codes. You open the downloaded form, okay, on your computer, because it's a fillable form, and fill it out and save it after it's been filled out. That's very important. You don't want to lose your data. And then you gather all your supporting documents and you click the Submit Certification Application button, and the application goes in, and it'll ask you for your supporting documents as well to upload those. And that's the DOT process. Again, you'll then prepare for a site visit, and they'll come out and visit you. By the way, the DOT program, the certifying agency is the city of Dayton, but you can also go to the headquarters, DOT headquarters on West Broad Street in Columbus. They both have certifying agents. Now, they're going to have a whole series of steps. You need to check your email for the e-sign live, because instead of printing out documents, signing them, and then sending them in, you actually are going to have some people call it DocuSign, but this is called e-sign live, where you sign it electronically. And that has just saved so much time in the certification process. You'll make sure you read the disclosures and click the accept button. You'll complete your application submission form, upload your signed and notarized application, your NAICS code descriptor form, and personal net worth statement, and all of your other optional supporting documents. You'll download a copy of the completed form and save it in your files along with a copy of everything you've submitted. I cannot stress that enough. It will come up again that you need to go back to that, and that's why tabbing the binder is so important. If they say, well, where's your personal net worth statement? You just flip to that tab and you bring it out, or you look for that virtually on your computer and submit it again. The Ohio Minority Supplier Diversity Council MBE certification. Again, we talked about going to the link. You can register your business. Click the link that comes to you from your email once you're registered, and then you fill out the certification application and it's submitted online. That organization does not always do a site visit, but they may do a telephone interview, and that's another way of verifying who you are and what you do. I have seen some situations where there's a fee involved in that certification. The other public certifications, there's not a fee, and so you want to verify that as you proceed with the Ohio Minority Supplier Diversity Council. And we'll just cover briefly the Small Business Administration 8A certification. This is the only one that has a designation for a veteran-owned business. You see, the other programs that we've talked about, for the most part, are local or state organizations. And so they don't offer anything specific for veterans, even though everyone has a desire to work with veterans. But this SBA program has disabled veteran-owned small business and veteran-owned small business, VOSB and DVOSB. So to apply for 8A certification, and this one is far more involved than the others. You should pack a lunch if you're going to certify with 8A. It's not impossible, and it's not even discouraging, but it is a more involved process, and it can help to have a guide. Certainly, as I said, you can contact your Small Business Development Center, and we'll be happy to provide a guide for you through that process. You simply use the certify.sba.gov website. You'll need to have a profile in the sam.gov, SAM.gov, before you can use the verification website. And so there are several steps to it. Don't let that intimidate you. Don't let that put you off. It's a great opportunity to get involved in. I just had a client call me the other day and ask about contracting at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Well, if you're not in SAM.gov, you're not going to be able to do that. And the beautiful thing about the SAM system is if there are purchasers at the base, some of them have purchasing cards that go up to $25,000. And so for your goods or services that the base wants to purchase, you don't have to go through as many hoops. Once you're part of SAM.gov, that purchaser can look you up, find that you're certified in the 8A program, and they can either select you or they can notify you of a bidding opportunity. And so that's a great advantage in working with the Small Business Administration to get yourself certified. Now we've come to the end of our formal slide presentation. I want to make sure that we've answered all the questions that you might have, and also to make sure that you know to contact the Springfield SBDC office. Rob Alexander and Rachel there, the team there is great about directing you towards the business coach or business advisor that's going to be of the most help to you for your small business. Things are starting to look up. There are great things coming, and we want you to be ready for those opportunities. And part of getting ready is getting certified. This is the perfect time to do it. We're still not wide open yet for all of our activities, and so while you're still somewhat staying in, that's a great time to gather all of these documents and get them ready for your certification. I'm Marcy Wright with Wright Transitions LLC, and I hope that you have great luck in getting certified for your small business.